This is another Canadian Heritage Minute, a part of our history.
Chrétien should be unemployed, the protesters screamed. As the Prime Minister continued toward his car, he came face to face with one of the demonstrators.
Super G
Suddenly,
right here, watch this.
Chrétien took the man by the back of the neck. His other hand was over the protester's mouth. He pushed him aside.
Hold on.
Seconds later, another protester approached the Prime Minister. Chrétien knocked over the bullhorn that was in his hand.
He's a bulldog. Look at this shit. Listen, how many political leaders in the world wear some sunglasses like that, walk through the protesters in his home province? He's French. He's in Quebec. And he goes and choke slams a dude and then slaps an air horn or whatever that was out of the other dude's hand. There's nobody like this guy. John Chrétien is a Canadian legend. An absolute treasure. My grandfather got to meet this guy. This guy right here is one of the greatest politicians to ever set foot on planet Earth. Bring that back, Mr. DJ.
This was all over in a matter of seconds. The Prime Minister grabbing a protester by the back of the neck and pushing him aside.
I wonder how in French you would say, shut your mouth. Shut your mouth. Yeah, shut your mouth.
Ferme ta bouche.
Shut your mouth.
Ferme ta bouche.
Ferme ta bouche.
Ferme ta bouche.
Let's go. The protesters are in the Hall of Quebec. I am the Prime Minister. I don't know what I'm doing. Let's go. Welcome to the Ben Stortini Show, where stories drift between worlds and forgotten moments find new life. Let's begin our journey. Let's go. And welcome back, everybody, to the Ben Stortini Show. I'm your host, of course, Mr. Ben Stortini. That's BENSTORTINI. And how are you today? I will give you a quick second. Go. I'm really glad to hear that, but I'm also sad to hear if your day's not going that well. So it goes both ways. I want to first, I'm feeling great right now. It's a little late me recording this right now. My day is about an hour and a half, 2 hours behind. I had to get my washing machine fixed by Mr. Allstate Insurance. It is a 2-year-old washing machine, a front loader Samsung. Don't ever buy that bitch. Front loaders for one thing, but a Samsung, they look nice. They look real pretty. That's why you say, hey, they look real pretty, huh? But these ain't shit. It's like a crippled, you know what I mean? Don't ever buy a front loader. So yeah, this is, my day is a bit, it's running behind a little bit. But here we are, and I find myself with a smile on my face because I feel good. I want to thank Emmanuel Capango for that last episode. It was so much fun. I had a blast, and it's funny. Nobody else knows, but the moment we finished that episode, I had clicked out and I clicked end in my head. I'm like, that is the greatest episode. That is one of the greatest episodes I've had yet. I had so much fun. It was like a vibe that was just, it was like an old friend, right? But then I thought, oh my God, I think I just deleted it. And I flipped a wig, man. Luckily, I went to the link that I sent him to go into the studio, clicked that, got back in, and I had just left the studio. I didn't end the recording, so all is good. I want to thank him again. I wish him safe travels back to LA. Thank you so much again for coming on the show. It means a lot. It really does. So let's get going with this. So where do we start here? A couple episodes ago, I spoke on my dad, being a gentleman, lack thereof. I was real angry about him not responding back to my sister about the news with her upcoming baby girl that's coming into this world. I was angry, and I posed the question, what had he passed down to me? What things did he teach me? He didn't teach me how to shave. He didn't do this. He didn't do that. But I said, the one thing that did come to mind was that he gave me the love for good music and an ear for good music, the gene of music, which he did. And I thank you for that. But I was acting like there was nothing more. And I want to pause that because that flooded back memories of Driftwood Avenue. My early years, those first 6-7 years where you're sponging in everything. You see, you hear everything your parents are doing. And being a parent now, that really made me sit back for a second and think, I got to be better. But let me pause that. My dad didn't just give me the love of music. Listen, back at Driftwood, I remember I got in a fight. It was grade 1. Yeah, grade 1 in St. Wilfrid's Catholic School. And I don't know what happened. It was just a fight. It was a fight. It was between me and this guy named Jermaine. And I still remember Jermaine. Jermaine had one of those, those Jamaican tank tops with the holes in it, the silk ones. He had one of those. I still remember that. Grade 1 wearing that to school. And we got in a fight. And I remember we got sent to the office and our parents got called. My mom and dad got called and they got called in. They're listening to the principal. Yup. And yep, okay, yep, we're gonna beat him when we get home. Don't worry. Yep. So when we got home, I remember my dad didn't do much except this. He did look at me, and I just remembered something down. I have to tell this after. I gotta write this down. Hold on. College car. But at that moment, he got me home. He sat me down. He looked me right in the eyes, and you know what he told me? He didn't even give me shit. He goes, "I want you to go back to school tomorrow, and I want you to hit him back." I was like, God damn, okay. He told me to go hit him back because we'd gotten in the fight. He hit me, and then I guess, we got pulled away from each other. So I took my dad's advice. The next day I went back to school. I went up to Jermaine and I hit him hard. And we got pulled into the office again, and my dad was just so proud of me. Oh, man. And the funny thing is, I became really good friends with Jermaine after. So we got in a fight and then we became good friends. Actually, okay, let me pause that. Jermaine, I had a birthday party. I think it was grade 1 or grade 2. And I was going to have it at the apartment complex on Driftwood. I had all these kids coming. And Jamal and Jermaine were coming. They were the two guys in my class and a bunch of other kids. They were the two black kids, right? So everyone got their invite to come to my birthday party. We were going to play outside in the park and we were going to have cake in the lobby, blah, blah, blah. Some parents, this is crazy. I just remembered this. Some parents, they called my mom and said, Mario and Tommy and Polly, they're not come. I can't let them come to your party. And my mom was like, why? Why can't they come? Well, to be completely honest with you, because Jamal and Jermaine are coming to the party. They weren't letting their kids come to the party because there were two black kids coming to the party. So this was the first time I ever was exposed to something like that. I remember not understanding it. I was like, okay, I guess their parents don't like them for some reason. I didn't get it, right? But the sad part is when we went back to school before my party, we were talking about my birthday party, and some of these kids were coming around, and I was talking to one of them. I don't remember who it was, and they're like, "Yeah, I can't come to your party because he's coming to your party." And it was just so fucking gross. And it was grade 1. And it was awkward. Even at that age, it was super awkward. And so, again, that goes to my point. I'm going to pause that. At that age, we are sponges, man. We are taking in everything. And as a parent, I have to remind myself of that. I have to be better. I'm going to keep saying that this episode. I have to be better. I have to find more patience. I have to show more love, and I have to be more fun. Instead of, I'm very militant and I'm very, you know what I mean? Make your bed and make sure it's creased. You know what I mean? And that doesn't trip at all with the kids. And I didn't think that's how I was going to be, but I've mentioned it before. That's how I am. But I have to just be better. I have to. So back to Driftwood. My dad, he took me to a Leafs game. These are the things you remember. He stood outside. I remember it was a Leafs playoff game against the Chicago Blackhawks at Maple Leaf Gardens. Early 80s. 86, 87, somewhere around there. You can look it up. But he stood outside in the freezing cold and he got those tickets. It was just me and him, standing room only, Maple Leaf Gardens, watching the Leafs. I remember everyone around me was just swearing and screaming. And again, I remember that. It stuck with me my whole life. And I took that and I brought that to my daughter because I took her to I think 2 Raptors games, but I want her to remember that. And it was around that age. So I said that last episode, but I have to retract that there was more. And I have to give him that props. There was more. He did do more. He put in that effort for that. And back to Driftwood, man, that's the first time I ever saw cockroaches. I remember walking to the bathroom in that little apartment, the same apartment where I told that story about how I picked up the phone every day for a month and I was calling Hulk Hogan. I remember going to the bathroom and seeing a cockroach like this big, just a monster, like two of them scurrying around in the bathroom. I was like, it looked like a little baby bird. It was gross, man. I remember, let me set the vibe of this apartment building, man. I think it was 30 Driftwood Avenue. It's that one right on the corner. So if you're Jane and Fitch Mall, you follow Driftwood down, and then there's a turn. There's like a bunch of buildings on the corner. Mine was the first one. You go up the stairwell. The stairwell was it was nasty. And there would always be dudes, and I remember you walk down and you hear an echo. And there'd be somebody down there sitting in the corner. But they never messed with you. They never, as a kid, they would like rub the top of your head, like, all right, young man, like boom, boom, boom. But I look back now, they're getting high as hell in that stairwell, in the elevators, it was wild. It was, again, early 80s. Cockroaches, the smell of the five spices. Remember that? You know that smell, that apartment smell, the five spices going down the hallway? I could smell that right now, that five spices. And I remember we even have dreams at those young ages. Remember, I thought I wanted to be an entertainer. I said, I want to be in commercials. So my mom listened, and she put me in an audition. I wrote it down here for a peanut butter commercial. And I went to the audition. And when it was my turn, I had to go on stage. I was that redhead. And I was going to scoop up a bunch of peanut butter. And I did it. I couldn't do it. I froze up. I was like, I can't do this. And I froze up, and they gave me a minute to try to get it. And I froze up, and I ran off the stage. I was like, I can't do this. But my mom didn't get angry. They didn't get frustrated. They were just like, okay, that's all right. That's all right. Supported me. And that was the thing about my mom, man. She whenever my music taste, my things I said I wanted to do, she never downplayed it. She never once would call me crazy or like, nah, like that stuff. Pause that. That's why I need to be better. I need to get better. I do that, but I have to do more of that. Switch back. So my mom would do that, right? She would always support me. Even like when I say crazy shit. I remember I was, to get out of Driftwood for a second when we were living at that house on the island. I remember there was this book called Black Like Me. This was in those days for me, right? And about this guy down south who took these pills to make his skin black, blah, blah, blah. I was like, Mom, I'm going to take these pills to make myself black. I saw him. He was on Oprah. My mom didn't say no. She just kind of looked at me like, well, we'll talk about that. She didn't call me crazy, but we'll talk about that. Let's go back to Driftwood, man. I remember for some reason, somehow, some way, my parents let me watch Poltergeist at that age. Again, in that 6-7 years, you're a sponge. I should have never watched Poltergeist. I should have been watching Willow, not Poltergeist. I should have been watching wrestling, not Poltergeist. I remember for 2 nights straight in my room, I would wake up and there'd be that tall ass dude in that movie with the suit who would walk down the street. He'd be at the edge of my bed. I would have nightmares of that. He would be this tall dude in a suit at the edge of my bed. My dad, he would have he'd be cleaning his bike. He had this motorcycle, this beautiful motorcycle. And he would have it outside in the parking lot in front of the apartment. And he'd be out there in the sunshine. He'd be polishing it up, cleaning it up, smoking his cigarettes, having a great Sunday afternoon, right? And I remember there were these kids up in their balconies that threw grapefruits at him. Smacked his bike and smacked him in the head too. He was so mad. I never heard so many fucks. Oh my gosh. So what did I do? I started throwing grapefruits and oranges off my balcony at people. It was fun. I remember we used to play hockey in the back with the kids from the apartment, and we'd be in the back where all the swings are. There was like this little alleyway in the back behind the apartment. And I just remember they had this set of goalie pads, whoever was goalie. It was that foam, that yellow foam, like insulation foam with strings in it so you could strap it around your legs. And that was the goalie pads. And it said Alan Bester on each of them, the Leafs goaltender at the time. And we played hockey out there. It was fun. But the point of me bringing all these memories back of Driftwood in those first 6, 7 years of my life is because those are the years that shape you as a child. Like those, as a man, as a person, as a human being, they're so delicate, those years. It's intense because I'm 45 now, and it's like yesterday I remember those moments, and they for some reason feel like pillars to me. Hit back. When he told me to hit back, my entire life I didn't like to fight. I didn't get in fights, but I would always use my mouth. I'd hit back with my mouth. I would get in your mind. I would cripple your soul with words, and I would twist it around in your brain that not only did you not want to fight me right now, but you wanted to buy me a chicken burger. That was my remix of hit back. Allowing myself to fail in things, but give all I got to what my heart wants to try to do. For instance, the peanut butter audition. They didn't get angry at me that I, made a big deal about getting there, doing this. They made it happen. We got there and I ran off stage. They didn't make a big deal about that. They literally just, and when I say they both, my mom and my dad, they both just kept going with me. They just, all right, whatever's next. With my kids, I'm going to do that with Stello and Luna. I'm going to allow them to go into things, and I'm going to keep a keen eye to see what they're gravitating towards more, and then, push a little bit harder there, pull back here, this and that. I got to, again, remix that into my version. I wrote down there a little memory of my dad, some advice that he gave me. I don't know if I think I mentioned this on the old podcast, the Raptors podcast, but this is hilarious. So not a lot of advice my dad, Tony, Anthony Stortini, has given me in my life, but he gave me a piece of advice going into college. Let me tell you, I'm going to take a sip of coffee before this one. This one is big. So I'm going to my first year college. And for some reason, my dad is the one that's going to drive me there. So we get his car full packed up, all my stuff, hockey bag full of clothes. I'm off to college. I'm off to my first year, right? Actually, nope, this was my second year. My first year, I don't remember how I got there. But my second year, I lived on residence. And I remember because he dropped me off at residence. That's why. So my dad's driving me to college, second year, and he gives me a piece of advice. And my dad has not given me a lot of advice through my 45 years. But we're about, just outside of North Bay. He's probably smoked about a pack of Export Gold packs already. He's played enough keyboard on the dash that, he could have started a symphony. He was just mad because Q107 just didn't seem to work right yet. I'm not that close to Toronto yet. It kept hitting the dashboard. Come on, Q. Come on, where's the Q? Where's my Q? The keyboard, you know what I mean? Anyways, we're just outside of North Bay, and he goes, Ben, I want to tell you something. I'm like, what is it? And he says, look at me for a second. I said, all right. So I look at him in the eyes, and he goes, I got one piece of advice for you going into school this year. I'm like, what is it, Dad? He goes, it's simple. Just pull out. Oh, fuck. My dad, with all sincerity, with everything in his soul, his eyes did not lie. There was a aura around him of truth, pain, suffering from his past mistakes as a man. And he had to pass down this epic nugget of knowledge to me, his son, his only son at the time, that I should just pull out. And I was like, thanks, Dad. And I did. That was one of the biggest rules. Man, no. Pull out. The things we learn. So I'm going to circle this all back, man. To me as a parent, to my two beautiful children, my beautiful daughter, my beautiful son. I have to remind myself I have to do better. I have to have more patience. And I have to be more fun. Those are things I want to adjust this year. I want to be a better dad when it comes to stuff like that. because I do want them to remember not just dad kept me in line, dad kept me organized, dad taught me how to be on time, dad taught me to make my bed, dad taught me to eat well, dad taught me to stand tall, dad taught me to not eat with my mouth open, dad taught me to put the napkin on my lap, and so on and so on. But I also want them to remember that dad was also pretty fun, and that dad loves them beyond anything, and maybe I just don't show it as much as I should, Yeah, I don't, but I have to. That's why I'm doing this episode, because in those years, I'm clear evidence of it. I remember everything like it was yesterday. So will our kids. Let's move on to health, okay? So health. All right. So as you know, we're in this journey together with the 8-week cut. 4 weeks in. And like I said, I go into every Friday with my weight check, and I check in and I weigh in. And last Friday, I was 188.8 pounds. And I checked in again on this latest weigh in, and I'm 188.8 pounds to the dot. So I didn't lose anything, didn't gain anything. I was just holding water, but I can tell the fat is going away. There is some fat that went away, but I was just holding water. It's wild. So my next weigh-in is tomorrow, and we will see. I'm pretty sure probably down a pound, probably down maybe a little bit more. Who knows? Or maybe I stayed. I don't know, but I'm following this meal plan and this entire marine plan to the gram, to the moment, to every single bite, to every single rep. So we will see. This is not a dramatic cut. This is like, I think Arnold said, it was like I'm a piece of clay right now. That's the way I'm looking at it. So it's pretty fun, actually. I've done this before, obviously, but my cuts before have been more drastic because it was so much running involved. So it was very easy to drop a bunch of weight. But what would happen was I would drop weight, and I would drop, my size and my mass and muscle mass. I will let you know next week what happened with tomorrow's weigh-in. I'm feeling great. The weather is changing. We're going on our trip to St. Martin very soon. I cannot wait to relax. I can't wait to hit that sun, get some real vitamin D in me, and just, walk my feet through that white sand and watch my kids play in the water. I can't wait. So on that note, let's go switch some worlds. You heard me. I want to give a shout out to my parents, my mom and my dad. Thank you, Mom, first of all, for always supporting whatever crazy idea I ever had, or whatever adventure I'm on, and for always supporting me even when it might look a little crazy, and always showing me love and telling me you love me. And Dad, I want to thank you as well. Ups and downs, everybody has that, but I want to thank you for giving me that style, giving me that funk, you know what I mean? Giving me that groove. It's why I wear a leather jacket, man. Come on, listen. That's the truth. Thank you for that. I felt wrong for saying that, the only thing you gave me was the music, because that's not true, and I want you to know that. You gave me a lot more than that. And even though we don't talk much, it's alright. No man is perfect. No man is perfect. And welcome back, everybody, to another edition of the Stortini-verse. And for new listeners, the Stortini-verse is quite simple. Every single episode, I suggest a couple pieces of music to take home with you. Maybe you can go into your Spotify or your Apple Music and just press play on these and let yourself and your mind and your body and your soul see if you like it. If you don't, you don't. If you do, you do. I then talk about a documentary I just watched or the book that I'm currently reading. And then I end it all off with a challenge to send you beautiful people home with over the weekend. So let's get going. I'm going to start with the music and I'm going to jump right into it. Seeing this whole episode is back in Driftwood, back on Driftwood Avenue. I remember the music being played in that apartment. My mom used to go around the house. My mom would do just about everything to this song. She would clean the house. She would cook. Yeah, she would cook. She would clean. This song was always heavy on the rotation in that apartment. So let's just get into it. Fleetwood Mac, Dreams. They actually used to sing this song in their band. The name of their band was the Baby Blues. My mom was the lead singer. She looked and sounded like Stevie Nicks. Whenever I hear her voice, it reminds me of my mom. This song always hits me hard. She'd carry me around as a baby with this song. They put me on a drum set. Players only love you when they're playing. Oh man, floods me with memories. That song right there is on the soundtrack of my life right there. It just instantly transports me back to just when they were in the band, they were practicing, they put me on drum sets, and I'd be playing to that song. My mom would be carrying me around as a baby listening to that song. That song and The Pretenders. I remember always the Pretenders. Brass in Pocket, I think the name of the song is, but beautiful song as well, though. That's the thing. And the thing is, I had a recording of their band singing that song, doing the cover of that song. I had it on tape. And when I was making music, I sampled that and I put it in a song. Players only love, and I put that on a song, and it was my mom singing it. I gotta find that one. And the second song, man, it again sticks with the same thing. I remember my mom and my dad playing Jimi Hendrix in the apartment a lot. They would sing this song specifically. They would do the cover of this song specifically in their band. Again, I just remember as a young baby hearing this song. And again, another one on the soundtrack of my life, Jimi Angel. Time Machine. Yesterday. She stayed with me just long enough to rescue me. Jimmy, a king. And she told me a story yesterday. Rest in peace, Aretha Barry. She loved Jimi Hendrix. About the sweet love between the moon and the deep blue sea. And then she spread her wings over me. My mom would sing this. Sounded cool with a female singing. When you get the shivers, the goosebumps. Jimi Hendrix, rest in peace, an absolute musical legend. Nobody before him, nobody after him. That's like Jimmy, man. Nobody. Fly on my sweet angel. Oh man, those songs hit me every single time. Okay, so let's get into the documentary of the book. I'm almost done my redeployment book, so I will talk about that next episode. By that point, I will be done. And I wasn't going to talk about this documentary, but it does go quite well with this episode. The Untold series is incredible, by the way. The Untold series on Netflix, just incredible. Well, go watch it. If you haven't watched it before, there's this one about this hockey team that gets started out in New Jersey. Just anyways, with mob ties. It's incredible. But this one just came out, the Lamar Odom story. I wasn't a Lamar Odom fan. All you know, I'm a basketball guy, right? Listen, I was not a Lamar Odom fan. I was like, there was something about him. And man, was I right. I didn't know much about him. But I go and I watch. I knew what happened. The dude liked to party. The dude liked his yayo. He liked his blanco. He liked his girls. He liked this. He liked that. He liked the cameras. He liked the sunshine. He liked he liked Hollywood, right? And boy did he ever. And boy did he ever not grow up. There was one part that when the Lakers won the championship, his kids were planned on the kids going to the parade with him, but he was up all night doing coke and partying. He didn't even answer his door at his house because he didn't want his kids to see him like that. The entire episode, he never once apologized for any of his actions. He never showed any accountability for his actions. He never showed any empathy, nothing, not once. Did he show any remorse for any of his decisions he's made in his life? And you could see it. They would interview his children, his daughter, his son, and his ex-wife. But his daughter and his son, you could see the pain in their eyes and the pain in their body language. You could just see it, like they were on the verge of tears on every topic, on everything they were talking about. You could just feel the pain. And that's what I'm talking about. I don't want to leave a stain like that in my kids. I want them to, if there was ever a documentary about me, I want to see smiles. Smiles and happy cries. I don't want to see pain because of any pain that I put on them. So if you want a little reminder of how not to treat your kids, listen to this episode again and then go watch the Untold Lamar Odom story. It's fucking gross. That's all I'm going to say about that. For a challenge for this week, I didn't even think of one, so let's think of it together right here. You know what? Listener, send me a challenge and let's see if I had yours teleported to me. Let's do it. Let's do it in 5 seconds. All right, I'm going to breathe in and breathe out. You send me the challenge. Go. Okay, let's do that. What we're going to do is for this challenge, you're going to take your kids and you're going to go play some basketball with that sunshine out. You're going to go take them to a hoop, a local hoop, and you're going to take your basketball, go get your bicycle pump, put the pin in, pump up that basketball just enough, but not too much, and go play some basketball. Shoot around with your kids. My son Stello is back in basketball camp, the same coaches, thank God, that he had last time, and I brought him last Saturday for his first session in a while, and man, I'm so happy he's back in there. The coaches are incredible. They're amazing with him. So get your kids playing some sports. If they're older right now, push them towards some sort of team game, some sort of team they can join. Just push them towards some sports because all kids need it. They need that extra adult in their life that isn't their parent that's going to help them and instill some game in them. And they also just need that camaraderie, that competitive fire. I'm watching the other Untold again, the Swamp Kings, about the Florida Gators football team when they had, what's his name on there? What's the quarterback's name again? Tebow was on there when they won the national championship and all the trials and tribulations of that run that he had in Florida. But just how hard they worked. They worked like they were going to war. And there was one part where Tebow was talking about one of the first teams he was ever on. He was on this baseball team, and the coach had his first speech to the kids, and he's talking to them, and he goes, and I just want you to know that it doesn't matter if we win or lose. It's just as long as you have fun. And I guess Tim stood up and goes, what are you talking about? And I totally agreed with him. Okay, this is what separates people. All right, this is what separates people, and it's not just sports, it's in life. You need to be competitive. You have to. There has to be a winner and there has to be a loser. I'm sorry, it's not good enough just to go have some fun. It is. Make sure you're having fun. Make sure you like the game, but everything in you should want to win, because sports is about winning and losing. And when you lose, you do whatever you can inside of you, whatever you can pull out of your soul, whatever energy you have left. Next time, you're going to do better and you're going to win. That's what it's about. That's what it's about. And to sit there and say it's not about winning or losing, that's because you were never good at sports. Sorry. Let's move on. Yeah, so that's it. So, yeah, Jimi Hendrix, Fleetwood Mac, Untold Lamar Odom, bitch ass, and the challenge, go play some sports with your kids. So I'm going to end this, man. I'm going to end this now. I want to, first of all, I'm glad I just remembered this. I want to thank, we have some new listeners again, and I wrote it down, from Vietnam. There is a huge influx of people downloading this show in Vietnam right now. Vietnam and India. It's just huge. It was China. Now these Vietnam and India are added into the mix. And I want to thank you. And Argentina, actually. Argentina, Vietnam, and India are added in the mix. Thank you so much. If you're listening right now from one of those countries, thank you so much for checking on this show. It means more than you can imagine. It really does. It keeps me going. And it keeps me spilling my heart to this microphone and to this camera each week. Once a week. So thank you, the listener. On that note, go into your weekend. Make sure your clothes are clean. Make sure your washing machine works. Make sure you brush your teeth and wash your face. And fellas, listen, it doesn't make you soft if you put lotion on your face, okay? Put a little lotion on your face. Take a little bit of your ladies' lotion and smack it on your face, okay? Because as we get older, a little bit of lotion helps just a little bit more than you can imagine. So do that. Don't stink. Make sure you wash your hands, exercise, eat well, eat a good cheat meal. You know how it works. Goodbye. Have yourself a great weekend. And please don't ever forget. I love you. Thanks for taking the time to jump in the portal with me. But do me one favor, alright? Hit subscribe on Amazon, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or YouTube, and leave a 5-star review so the algorithm kisses this pod and sends it out to the streets looking good, because that's how it works. Have a great weekend, and please don't ever forget, this guy, he loves you.